as Class B infectious disease, we have to closely monitor the evolution of the variant and also the strain, make sure that we could ensure a safe and pleasant journey for our general public. We have to mind our own hygiene and protect ourselves. So today's theme is about the epidemic containment measures during Labor Day holiday. We have Han Jinghua from Ministry of Transport. So we have the deputy from the Ministry of Culture and Tourism, and also we have the Madame Guo Yanhong from the National Health Commission, and also Mr. He Qinghua from the China CDC, and also Chen Chao from the Center of Disease Control of China. They will also answer your questions. Now the floor is open for questions. Please raise your hand to ask a question and identify your media affiliation. With CMG CCTV, recently, there are a lot of discussion about COVID-19. My question is, what is the current situation in China? And right now, more and more people are getting infected, and right now, the level of antibody is lowering. Will there be any changes in the current epidemic situation in China? I would like to give the floor to Mr. He Qinghua. So first of all, thank you for your attention to the epidemic situation. Right now, the situation remains steady, and in different parts of China, there may be some sporadic cases. In certain areas, we do see a slight increase of the positive cases, according to the fever clinic. In general, the epidemic situation is still in a mild situation, especially in the early April. We have reached the lowest point since 2020, and in mid-April, if we look at the daily cases, we may see a slight increase. According to the consultation of the experts and also considering the situation of the global situation, we will think as time passes by, the immunity level may decrease in certain parts of China. So that's why we see a slight surge in certain districts. So for the infection cases, will center to three groups of people. So for example, for people who never get infected, and some people may have some immunity diseases or lack of immunity level. So that's the situation why we have some increase of the cases. But it is not likely that we will have a large scale of infection in China. Next question, please. With China Transport Paper, right now we are approaching to the Labor Day holiday, and more people tend to go out for travel during the holiday. My question is to the Ministry of Transport. So during the Labor Day holiday, any changes for the passenger capacity? And what are some of the changes and the measures taken by the terminals in different places? Okay, now I would like to invite Mr. Han Jinghua to answer your question. Right now, the Labor Day holiday is approaching, and right now we could see the economy has picking up, and we have more population flow in China. It is expected that during the holiday, we have more people visiting their families, and also some of them may want to travel, and we may expect to have a big increase for the intercity transport. It is expected that we may see a big increase for the self-driving road trips and intercity carpooling. And if we look at the time, we will see the peak will come to at the beginning and the end of the holiday. Third, if we look at the regions, in the Pearl River Delta and the Yangtze River Delta, and we may see some of our hotspot cities to be the destination. And also in the rural areas, we may see some people may go back to their hometown to visit their family members and relatives. In order to ensure all the people can enjoy a healthy and pleasant journey, the Ministry of Transport will focus on the following tasks. First, we will mobilize the transport capacity, and we will increase more trains and passenger cars. And also in the rural areas and some key areas, we will try to increase our transport capacity to meet the needs of the people. And also, we will try to send out more trains as well as the flights to meet the needs of the people, making sure that all the people can enjoy their holiday. And second, we will optimize the containment measures. We will implement the 10th edition of the protocol on the containment measures for COVID-19, and also we will pay attention to the disinfection and the ventilation in the terminals. And also we will monitor the workers when they're working at the railway, the highway port, and also the civil aviation ports. When necessary, we will open up more security gates and make sure that we can reduce the gathering of the people. Third, we will pay more attention to the safety issues, making sure that we can ensure a safe production and also provide more training to the drivers, and we will maintain and fix the trains and the planes, make sure that all the journeys are safe. And in key Sydney spots, we will have supervision from time to time. We will make good use of the big data to make sure that all the people can enjoy the safe journey. At the same time, we call on all the visitors and the tourists, for your own sake, pay attention to your own safety and your hygiene. And also make sure that you can protect yourself against the virus and make sure that you are responsible for your own health. Thank you. Next question, please. With Phoenix, during the holiday, we may see a big population flow. From time to time, maybe there may some people still have medical needs. So what shall we do to ensure that all of those needs can be met? I would like to turn to Madame Guo Yanhong to answer your question. So during the Labor Day holiday, still we have to ensure the needs for the people to seek medical health, especially we have to pay attention to those critical and severe cases. We have already made special arrangements. We call on all the localities to attach great importance on the medical services. First, we will provide more people, and also we will allocate sufficient medical resources, and more people will be on duty during the holiday and serve the people. And the second, we have to make sure that we have sufficient resources available, especially in the outpatient area, and we need to provide more medical staff to serve the people. Especially, we have to make sure that the emergency room will be open 24 hours per day. Third, we have to initiate the accountability mechanism to serve the wounded, and especially paying attention to those critical cases, making sure that all these people still can get treated during the holiday. All in all, we want to do our best to serve our people with a pleasant holiday. Thank you. Next question, please. With CMG, during the Labor Day holiday, I believe most of the people are densely populated. Will this have an impact to the spread of the virus? So what are some of the reminders to the general public? Thank you. I would like to turn to Mr. He Qinghua to answer your question. Thank you for your question. So indeed, during the holiday, there may be a big increase of the population flow. This may also cause the spread of the virus, but it is not likely to cause a large-scale transmission of the virus. So for different authorities, we have to do what we can to consolidate the achievements we have made in the past few years. So during the Labor Day holiday, I call on all the people during the travel, make sure that you monitor your health. If you develop symptoms such as coughing, fever, make sure you get tested with the nucleic acid test. Make sure that you are not taking the public transport with illness. And the second, you have to pay attention to the epidemic situation to your destination. And during the travel, make sure that you protect yourself and have a good hygiene. This is to individuals. This is what you have to do before and after the travel. And the second, in order to ensure the safety and health of our people, for all the localities, they have to strengthen 6 areas of work. First, we have to pay attention to the global situation. We have to monitor the strain variant. We have to analyze the impact of the imported cases and imported variant and make sure that we still manage the COVID-19 with measures against Class B infectious disease. And also we have to make sure that the imported variant will not cause a big impact to China. So that is the first point. We have to pay attention to the global situation. Make sure we don't have a big rebound of the cases. Second, for the Transport Ministry, we need to provide more support. When necessary, we have to open up more green channels to guide the passengers to take on their transport means. Second, for the terminals, Sydney spots, and some refined spaces, we need to do disinfection and ventilation. We have to make sure that we disinfect all the public areas in due courses. Fourth, in the elderly service areas, schools, and some key areas, if we find people develop symptoms such as fever, coughing, we need to send these people to hospital for treatment. Make sure that there's no cluster outbreak in those areas. Fifth, for the clinics and the hospitals, we still have to monitor the infectious disease situation in China, make sure that we could identify these infectious disease immediately and cut off the transmission chain. Six, for different areas, different cities, they have to make sure we have sufficient people on duty. If we have an emergency or an outbreak of epidemic, we have to cut off the transmission chain to contain the spread of the virus. All in all, we have to continue to manage the COVID-19 with measures against Class B infectious disease. And at the same time, we need to lift some of the unnecessary restrictions to ensure a smooth transportation during the Labor Day. And at the same time, we need to focus on the safe production. Make sure there's no safety issues during the holiday. Thank you. Next question, please. With Finance Center, CMG. So right now, we have identified a new variant, so that is the XBB.1.1.16. So what is the situation of this new strain? Thank you for your question. According to our monitoring of the variant and the strains, so right now, for local cases, still dominated by the BA.5.2 and BF.7. But if we look at the situation in a general term, we still see an increase of cases infected with XBB.1.1.6. And right now, we are seeing that this XBB.1.1.6 has become a dominant strain. as of the imported cases. In mid-April, we could see 18% of the positive cases are infected with XBB.1.16. So as of yesterday, we already identified 57 cases infected with XBB.1.16 strain. So according to the WHO, the XBB.1.16 has less transmission power as compared to XBB.1.5. In different countries, the transmission of this strain is quite different. And in certain regions, and they do identify that some people are infected with XBB.1.16. And also, they also identify that the transmission power is quite strong. But no country reported that the XBB.1.16 will cause severe symptoms or cause more death cases. So we will continue to monitor the situation of this new strain. Thank you. Next question, please. So during the holiday, more and more people tend to go out for travel. Especially, they may want to travel to different parts of China. So I want to understand what measures are taken by the Ministry of Culture and Tourism to ensure a safe journey. So this year is actually also the first year we kick off the measures to manage COVID-19 with measures against Class B infectious disease. Now, more and more people would like to go out for travel during the Labor Day holiday. In order to ensure a safer, pleasant holiday, we have done a lot of work. First, we provide more services during the Labor Day holiday. So, for example, during the Labor Day holiday, we actually established we have come up more performances in different cities. And also we are designing different routes to promote the rural development, and also we open up more scenic spots, the 5A level scenic spots in China. Except for certain parts in the northern city, for the rest of China, we have opened almost all the scenic spots. And also we are opening up some of the pavilions to promote the intangible cultural heritage in China. And also I would like to make you notice that the May 19th is actually the Global Tourism Day. And by then, we will also come up with a lot of promotions. And also we will work with the transport means to encourage the public to go out for travel. And the second, we have to clarify the responsibilities for different authorities. During the Labor Day holiday, we will ask different departments to go down to the grassroots to make sure that all of our productions are safe and it will not cause any challenges and risks during the holiday. And also, we will manage the traffic in those popular key destinations. We will work with relevant authorities to open up more evacuation channels, and also we will screen out all the risks in the cultural and tourism entities. And also we will check the safety issues for the cables and some of the entertainment facilities. For some of those parks or the facilities, if they're not up to the standards, we will close all of these facilities. And also we will provide more education to the staff so they have a better awareness of the safety issues. Third, we will try to maintain the order during the holiday. And for example, in some of the entertainment areas, we need to supervise the performance and also the operation of those premises. And according to the notification, we have to make sure that all the tourists can enjoy the holiday and they're not forced to make a purchase if they're joining a tourism group. And we have to protect the rights of the consumers as well as the tourists. Thank you. Next question, please.
好，先来请右侧区第3排最靠里边这位穿红色衣服的记者。
With Nanfang Urban Daily. So recently we understand for the Interagency Task Force has issued a vaccination program in response to the recent outbreak of COVID-19 infection. You also mentioned we have to fill in the gaps in the immunity shield. What does that mean? I would like to turn to Chen Chao to answer your question. So for the vaccination, it is very important for us to build our immunity system. So right now in China, for a certain group of people, they never get infected and they're not getting vaccinated. According to the research, we need several times of the antigen stimulation in order to build a very strong immunity shield. So right now, if we look at the current situation, we have to make sure that the immunity level can be improved in China. So that's why we are saying we need to promote the vaccination so that the antigen can be stimulated and their immunity shield can be built. So according to our research, this group of people are referring to the uninfected group, and these people are not vaccinated at all, or the infected group that are not vaccinated at all. So in order for these people to build up their immunity, we encourage these people to get vaccinated. Thank you. Next question, please.
好，来请右侧区第3排第2位穿白色衣服的记者。
Recently, some people are seeing that are feeling that their relative they're getting infected with the type A influenza. So what is the situation this year? So how the public cope with this infection? Still, I would like to turn to Chen Chao to answer your question. Thank you for your question. According to our monitoring data, and this round, so we are seeing two dominant strains for the type A influenza, that is H1N1 and H3N2. And in early February, we are seeing more and more people are getting infected with the influenza. And we actually reached to a peak in the mid-March. And then the situation getting better, and in mid-March, the situation is getting better in the northern part of China, and in early April, we are seeing that a decrease of the flu cases in the southern part of China. And this time, we are seeing two features. So this time we are seeing like we have 2 months later for the emergence of the influenza, and also we are seeing the flu is actually infected from the north part and then migrating to the southern part. And also we are seeing some cluster outbreak of the infections of the influenza. Most of the people get infected in school, so I encourage the public to take vaccines against the influenza. Still, you have to make sure that you have a very healthy diet and also very healthy lifestyle, and make sure you have a good ventilation in your room. And also, you can also take some special medicine to deal with the influenza. Thank you. Next question, please. Thank you. With People's Daily. So during the Labor Day holiday, what is the current situation of the fever clinic? Do we have sufficient stock of the medicine? Now I would like to turn to Guo Yanhong to answer your question. Thank you for your question. So in spring, actually we are seeing a lot of infectious disease, including the influenza and also the COVID-19. We still have some sporadic cases of COVID in the spring. And the Labor Day holiday this year, we may see an increase of the population flow. So we will continue to monitor the situation during the holiday and make sure that we can do a good job and a preparation for medical resources. For example, we will prepare more beds, and also we will require all the fever clinics to be open. Make sure that we have sufficient fever clinic to meet the needs of the patients. And also, for the medical resources, we need to have all the facilities and devices in place. So we also require the level 2 hospitals and the fever clinics and also the normal outpatient to monitor the situation on a daily basis, so we could get the epidemic situation in a dynamic manner. Second, we need to make sure we have sufficient medical supplies, for example, the medicines and medical apparatus. We need to set up a mechanism to allocate the medical resources, especially for some key devices. We have to make sure that these devices can be allocated on a daily basis. And also for the grassroots clinic and the medical institutions, we require them to have sufficient stock of the oral medicines. At the same time, we need to make sure that we have sufficient ambulance in the level 2 and above hospitals. And the third, we need to make sure that the doctors and the nurses can receive more training so they could have more accurate diagnosis of COVID-19. And also we open up online and as well as the offline channel for the experts, and they can guide the grassroots medical staff to provide services to the patients. Thank you. Next question, please. Xinhua News Agency. During the Labor Day holiday, many people may go back to their hometown and also go out for travel. Any reminders from the Ministry of Transport? So for some people, they may want to go on a road trip. So any advice to these people? I would like to turn to Han Jianhua to answer your question. Yes, indeed. This year, we are seeing that we could kick off a good start for the economy this year, and also we are seeing some of the recovery in the catering services and the tourism services. It is estimated that during the Labor Day holiday, we may have more people go on a road trip. And also we may see a high peak of the highway passenger car flow. For the drivers, I advise all of you to monitor the situation of your destination. Make sure you travel off-peak. So when you are entering into the places that are densely populated, make sure you wear your mask and wash your hands frequently. And in order to ensure a smooth travel during the Labor Day holiday, the Ministry of Transport will focus on the following. First, we will monitor the city network to understand the traffic situation, we will also send out alarms and notification, and we want to guide these self-driving drivers to pick the optimized route for their travel. And second, we will exempt some of the fees for the smaller size passenger car. And also we will monitor the ETC situation and handle the emergencies immediately. Third, we will also set up a contingency team to handle the accidents that may happen in the highway. We have to make sure that there's no combustion in the highway. And the fourth, we have to make sure that we provide more services in the highway service areas. For example, we will provide the dining services, and also we will offer lavatories in the service areas in order to ensure a smooth journey for the passengers. Thank you. Next question, please. With China News Service. So recently, we have rolled out the protocol on mask wearing. So can you tell us more and elaborate on this protocol? Because you identify for certain areas you have to wear a mask, but in others, it is not necessary to wear a mask. Can you tell us more about this protocol? Thank you for your question. Wearing a mask is the most effective way to prevent you from getting infected of infectious disease, especially the respiratory disease. So after we roll out the policy to manage COVID-19 with measures against Class B infectious disease, we also roll out 5th edition of the mask-wearing guideline for the public. So for this guideline has played a key role to curb the spread of the virus. So on January the 8th, we have downgraded the COVID-19 as Class B infectious disease. We actually gained decisive victory in fighting against COVID-19. So for the new edition of the guideline, we have considered 3 areas of work. So first, considering the current situation, we actually remove some of the compulsory restrictions for the mask wearing. And the second, we also provide more details on the guidelines for wearing masks, especially for some of the scenarios. We advocate some people to wear masks, and also in certain areas, for example, in open space, it is not necessary for you to wear your mask. Actually, you could download this guideline online. Third, we still have to change this guideline accordingly. When we are looking at the current situation, we have to revise some of the guideline of the mask wearing. So for the new guideline, we identify several scenarios, and also we offer suggestions in these scenarios. As you mentioned, for certain areas, maybe people, they're not sure whether they should wear the mask. I advise that you have to consider your personal situation, and also you have to consider the situation in your city, making sure that you are responsible for your own health. One last question, please. Thank you. With China Daily. So right now we are approaching to the Labor Day holiday. I believe that for some scenic spots and the tourist sites, there may be a peak of the population. What measures has been taken by the Ministry of Culture and Tourism to manage this situation? Thank you for your question. So actually, for all of the activities related to the culture and tourism, I believe many people would like to gather on those sites. And especially this year, more and more people would like to travel outside during the holiday. And all of these may actually pose challenge for us to contain the spread of the virus. But still, we will follow the guidance from the CBC Central Committee and the State Council. We have done the following work. First, we will issue more alarms. So first of all, we will look at the big data, and also we will issue a monthly report. We will release this report to different cities so that they can get well prepared during the holiday, make sure that they can provide better services and maintain the order during the holiday. And also, we would like to encourage all the tourists to mind their own health and responsible for their own health. And also, we advise them to wear a mask when necessary. Third, we will also come up with a policy for the tourist site. For example, we will open up a mechanism for the appointment system for the tourists before they enter into those sites. They have to make appointments online, and they have to take staggered tourism, so making sure that we can reduce the gathering to the maximum amount, especially for some A-level places and, for example, some refined spaces. We have to make sure that we have a good ventilation and also a good disinfection. And during Labor Day holiday, we have to increase the frequency for the disinfection. And at the same time, we have to pay attention to food safety. And the third, we need to prepare a contingency plan. We will work with the local cultural and tourism entities, and also to make sure that we could make detailed arrangements and make sure that for all of these entities can abide by the guidance. And we will do a lot of rehearsals and provide trainings to the staff in the cultural and tourism entities. When there is an emergency, all of these entities can respond to the emergencies in due courses. Once there is an outbreak of the epidemic, we will try our best to handle the situation of all of these, like the stranded tourists, make sure that they can go back safely. So in today's press conference, the guests tell us more about the epidemic containment measures during the Labor Day holiday. And during the Labor Day holiday, I believe still many people have to work on their post and to safeguard the people and also the order of the society. At the same time, I wish all the Chinese people can enjoy the Labor Day holiday. That's the end of the press conference.